What's one piece of advice you give to parents about understanding their child's behavior? If there's one thing that every parent needs to know, or every caregiver needs to know about children and their behavior, it's this. Behavior is communication. For children, their natural form of communication is not verbal, it is behavioral. And if you've watched Bad Kids Don't Exist, or if you've listened to this podcast much, you know I talk often about a part in the brain that's called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is located just behind the forehead, and it's responsible for all sorts of things. But one of the main things that it's responsible for is verbal language processing. So being able to understand and comprehend verbal language, being able to process it, and being able to come up with verbal language. Well, young children don't have access really to that part of their brain. There's not a strong connection there. And that part of the brain doesn't really connect until around age 12, and then doesn't fully connect until age 25. So all through those years, everybody's just kind of learning how to communicate better. What that means is that when children feel something big, or when they need to communicate something big, a lot of times it comes out in their behaviors. Many times as adults or teachers are adults, but as parents or teachers or caregivers, what can happen is a child will show a disruptive behavior, and rather than trying to understand the message behind the behavior, the adult will focus on what the behavior was. So if a child runs up and, I'll give an extreme example. If they run up and they hit me, what that's communicating to me is that they're angry. Now, that's not an acceptable way to tell me that they're angry, but I need to tell them I received that message. So rather than looking at them and going, I can't believe you just hit me, why in the world would you do that? I look at them and I say, I know you're angry with me right now. I'm not for hitting, but if you need to hit, there's a dummy right over there that you can go punch. And so it's saying message received. And that is the big thing with children's behaviors, is that all behavior is trying to communicate something. It's trying to communicate, I want this, or I need this, or I'm feeling this way. And what we have to do as the adults in children's lives is, yes, we want to shape behaviors, and we want to show more positive behaviors and more productive ways to get needs met. But we also need to tell the child, I see what you're trying to say. Now, there's a different way you need to tell me, but I do see what you're trying to communicate with me. Many times, children will escalate their behaviors because they don't feel like their message was received. So that's the big thing we have to do, is let them know that we understand the message. We have to look beneath that behavior. Instead of reacting to that behavior immediately, you can ask, what is my child trying to tell me through this behavior? What is it they're trying to show me that maybe they don't have the words for? Because when kids feel big feelings, sometimes they don't know what the feeling is. We aren't born knowing the names of emotions. Sometimes they just feel this big feeling and it has to come out. And then it's our job to say, I know you're feeling angry, but I'm not for hitting. You can hit that instead. And we have to be patient. We have to understand that children are developing this skill. And we can't just expect them to meet our expectations when that part of their brain isn't fully developed. So yes, we want to help shape their behaviors, and we want them to seek appropriate ways to get their needs met. But in the end, remember that it's not just a bad kid doing bad things because they like doing bad things. They're trying to communicate something to you. And if you can let them know that you are receiving the message that they're communicating, then some of that disruptive behavior will decrease, and their ability to just share their needs will increase. It takes time and it takes patience. But if you'll remember that the behavior is communication, and then help the child develop other ways to communicate the same thing, then that's where you'll see the progress. Hopefully this answer was helpful. If it was, make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the fun tips and tricks here at Mr. Stu TV, and it also helps other people find the content as well. So please like and subscribe. Thanks so much.